So people want to know if Saurian is making the skirmish AI. Do you want to take that one, Mike?
Yes. yes, I will be working on the AI when I.
The real answer is Mike's writing the entire game by himself, basically.
yeah. In between writing the sim and doing the unit behaviors and the tasks and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll find time to do AI sometime.
So another question people have is, will I be able to stream alpha gameplay? It's kind of an interesting topic, right? Like they want to know whether they're going to be able to take YouTube videos and put it up during alpha. And I can honestly say that we haven't made a determination on that, but I'm kind of leaning towards letting people do it because by the time you guys have the alpha, people can buy the game and come in and play it anyway. Exactly. So why not let people pimp it and show how cool it is? I think the game already looks pretty cool. So,
Creators.
Will there be multiple monitor support for this game? Of course.
Hell yeah.
That's just a given.
Yeah.
They're going too fast.
When is the beta expected? Ask us after alpha.
So no, this date question is a very good question, and I can say that we are going to be making some date announcements soon. We're starting to lock down dates for alpha, beta, and release. So we're not announcing it today, but I actually think we have our preliminary dates already locked down. Probably next live stream, we'll say something about what the actual dates are for everything.
Someone just actually asked, by the way, if ChronoCam is available during gameplay, and that's actually what we were just showing you. So I mean, we're playing the game live. I don't know if we're on screen at the moment or not.
Yeah.
I mean, what I was showing you earlier, this is live gameplay. We're showing you. I mean, we can actually go back to when we were just getting started, before the live stream even started, as we're building our bases up and getting ready to go here. This is real. And if I want to go back to the end of time, this is back to live gameplay. There's no. Oh, hello. That's neat. This is live. There's no smoke and mirrors going on here.
Yeah, there's really little difference between a replay and a live game and a save game. They're all kind of just the same
from
thing.
The client perspective.
From the client's perspective. So in a replay, watching a save game, watching a live game, you can scrub back and forth at any time, and you can have multiple windows open at different times. It's pretty crazy.
So people want to know about the celestial mechanics. That's just not ready enough to show yet.
Yeah, we're working on it.
We're working on it, but it's just not ready to show yet. So we can't show you an asteroid smashing into anything yet. Sorry. And it's unlikely that will be in the first alpha build either, right? The very first build of alpha is going to be more about, basically combat on one planet, because we have to make the combat work on one planet before it works on multiple planets. I know that might be counterintuitive, but you got to walk before you can run. Also, people that are repeating the same thing over and over again really annoys me, and I'm going to quit answering your questions, just so you know. Let's see. Can you load a game from any point in the replay? That is the design, is that you can go into the replay and basically say, load the game from this point and continue on. That's the general idea.
Yeah, my favorite example of that is if we had a really famous replay of two top-tier players, and they had an amazing battle. In the last 5 minutes, one of them pulled off some crazy maneuver and defeated the other guy. And we disagree on whether or not we could accomplish the same thing, or could we produce a different outcome in that game? If I just built this other thing, could I have changed the course of that game? Well, we can actually load up that replay, scrub to the point where we disagree, and then you take over one army, I take over the other army, and we play it out and see what happens. I mean, that's just crazy cool.
That's the idea. Yep. Did Worms 3D inspire the animations? No, I don't think so. I'd have to ask Ben, but I doubt it. Not that that stuff isn't cool.
How deformable are you planning the terrain to be?
So the terrain is, deformation isn't actually the word, right? Because it's actually just real-time CSG.
Right.
So, we showed some stuff in other streams with the craters and all that kind of stuff, and it's very deformable. Like, you can totally destroy stuff, cut holes and stuff. If you take a look at what the planet has in terms of, like, cracks and all that kind of stuff in it, just in the demo there, that kind of stuff is how the asteroid collisions are done.
Yep. Will there be fog of war? Yes, of course.
There'll be
we
fog
haven't
of war.
done it yet.
It's designed but not implemented.
Someone asked level up and unlock things. I don't think that's really kind of...
No, there's no leveling up and unlocking anything in this game. It's not free to play, so we don't have to force that mechanic in there. I do want to have like basically a meta game where like we track all of your stats, and you know, if you've played 1 million games and you have a really good win-loss record and you've killed 1 million units, you know, we'll have like little badges and stuff like that. But
so one question that does keep getting answered or asked, and we've answered a couple times, but hopefully this will get the message out a little better about digital distribution and other channels besides Ubernet. We will be available through other digital distribution channels. The timing and what those channels are, I think we have yet to decide and determine.
Yeah, those will be announced as it happens, basically.
Yes, I do like cakes. Thanks for asking.
Can you rewrite time? No. Well, unless it's
kind of what we're talking about.
Unless you split the game into a different game.
Exactly.
Like
you can basically fork the timeline.
Are the terrain features, plateaus, craters going to be more detailed, higher poly later in development? No, absolutely not. What we're showing you in terms of poly count is very accurate towards what we want. There's already a ridiculous number of polygons when you start to like zoom out on these planets. In fact, we'll have to put in more LOD systems to actually reduce that stuff.
Someone asked if they can rewrite time. No, I mean, it's a review system. It's literally.
Well, you can though if you branch from there. You're creating a new game, but you're not rewriting time. You're creating an alternate timeline.
You're not affecting the live game by going back and.
Right. It's not. What was it called? Archon.
Archon. Oh, that.
Not Archon.
Archon. Yeah.
Asterisk 135 wants to know if there's special abilities.
Well, the commanders have some special abilities, right? Like the Uber cannon.
But that's about it.
But that's about it.
There's a philosophical reason for that.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with special abilities is it encourages micro, which we're trying to discourage. So if you can't automate it, right, if you can't have the unit kind of automatically do it, we kind of tend to discourage that from a design perspective.
Yeah.
However, the ability, it's in the engine.
Right.
Right? I mean, you can expose special abilities on units and alternate fires and stuff like that. Like
if modders want to add that kind of stuff, they can, right?
Click and drag ultra configurable GUI. I'm not sure how far we're going to go in terms of click and drag, but the entire GUI is written in JavaScript, and I'm expecting massive numbers of UI mods to be out there that will support everything you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about the fact that the front end is a web interface, right? It's a web page, the UI system, and you know we were a little bit unsure of it at first. You know, it was an experimental, researchy thing, but I mean, I think we agree it's turned out to be a big win. Right?
Yeah, I think so far it's working out really well.
And we've actually had two separate UIs up and running at the same time as we were developing one and getting another one ready. Yep.
Will there be unit formations? Yeah, there's probably going to be some sort of formation setup stuff, yeah. I don't want to promise exactly what it's going to be. How does the scale compare to Supreme Commander? The scale in Supreme Commander is all screwy.
It's just apples and oranges.
It's apples and oranges. Yeah. You definitely can't directly compare them. Like you can't say, oh, this many meters in our game versus their game. They're just different. Here we go. So what about replays of older game versions? Will the client detect if a replay is of an older game version and automatically patch the thing and whatever?
Right.
It doesn't need to do that because our replays aren't broken. Part of the design here is to make these replays be robust across versions of the engine so that we don't need to do crazy things like patch to some old buggy version to run the replay that's a year old or whatever. The replays are much more like recordings than they are like, they're not just recording the inputs and playing it back synchronously, they're actually recording what happened in the game.
Yeah.
So. Can the metal planets be rejuvenated and turned into giant space stations able to destroy whole planets? That's kind of the idea. That's kind of the idea. Let's see. Any other interesting questions in here? Will there be PhysX in the game? There's no current plans to support PhysX. And PhysX isn't a game feature, it's a library, right? I mean, you'd have to ask the question of, does the game have feature X?
Right.
And then maybe we would implement that on PhysX, or maybe we would implement that on something else. Asking if the game is going to have PhysX semantically doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
I don't even know what type of recourses will there be. I don't even know what that means, do you?
It's misspelling resources.
Oh. Okay.
Metal, energy.
Is there going to be naval? Yes, there's going to be naval. We already have a bunch of naval stuff built. We just haven't had enough time to really concentrate on it yet. Are there going to be different ranged units? Yeah, there's some in there right now, like the artillery, right?
Yep.
What is the anticipated size of each save game replay? I guess
hard to know right now.
Hard to know, but my question would be, why do you care? Like,
Yeah.
disk space is free,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's just say that they were massive, right? Does it really mean
Bandwidth's
anything?
not free for some people, and that is a concern.
Oh,
but
if you
they're
live in
not going to be that big.
If you live in Australia, yeah you're kind of screwed. I don't know exactly how big they're going to be. It's going to be completely dependent on the size of the game.
How many players were in the game? How many units were in the game? How long did the game go on?
Yeah.
Right? It'll be that big.
Will there be in-game communication system? There's already some chat stuff in there. As far as in-game voice chat, I pretty much kicked that to the curb because it seems like people fall into one of two camps. There's the people that already have their voice chat set up with their friends on their own server, and then there's random people that are assholes. And so if you just put random, like this has been my experience, is that if you expose more chat, you just get more people being dicks. So it's not really, voice chat, it's not really a highly needed feature. If people want a voice chat, they probably already have all their friends on a Mumble server or something anyway.
Right.
Is heavy metal music fitting to listen to while blowing up planets? Sure, anything is.
When isn't it, actually?
Yeah.
When?
When isn't it?
Yeah, that's
metal
typically
music?
what John is listening to.
That's all I
while
listen
he's
to,
coding,
really.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, I don't know, is Rush heavy metal?
Yeah, sort of.
There are random people that are assholes. John Maver, 2013. Yeah. Are there going to be lasers? Yes. Although, what kind of lasers, I think, is a question. I'm more of a fan of Star Wars type lasers instead of the beam type lasers, but.
Yeah, for the people asking, like, when is feature X going to be ready? When it's done.
Yeah, when it's done. It's funny, I kind of feel like people think that we have some like giant wall chart with like every little feature planned out to the hour or whatever. It's not how games get made, guys. We make stuff, we make more stuff, we make more stuff. Eventually we put it in front of you, get your feedback and make more stuff. It's really iterative. It's not, I don't think any of these games have really been designed from the standpoint of here's a massive design and everything's planned out to the hour. Maybe on the art side a little bit, but certainly not on design and code.
Somebody asked, we've mentioned multiple times that this game is a different take on a sequel to Total Annihilation than Supreme Commander was. In what way is it different?
There's a lot of differences.
Well, like a philosophical difference.
Well, first of all, just less stuff, right? I mean, Supreme Commander was Taco Town. Right? I mean, it was everything in the kitchen sink.
Right.
And I think that having too much over design in there hurts the game. That's why we're saying things like commander upgrades. They're just not necessary to have the game be fun, and it's expensive to build that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And we do have to be a lot more efficient than we were when we made Supreme Commander.
Yeah.
And I say we in the kind of royal we. I mean,
sure.
I think a lot of the people here worked on it, but obviously this company didn't make it. Are you using the waterfall model? Hell no. we use basically a modified iterative Scrum to make the game, which means we basically sit down, set some goals. Everybody figures out what they need to individually do to reach those goals, and then we work on it, review it, and set some more goals.
Will there be Planetary Annihilation tournaments? Somebody asks.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And somebody has also asked a bit about esports as well. It's like we're not out there to create like the ultimate esports game, right? But we have happened to implement features that are just crazy compatible with esports. They just make total sense.
Right.
And we fully expect the game to be adopted by the esports community, and we will try to do what we can to support it. But the primary goal is just to make a fun game that plays like TA Evolved.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty simple. I mean, the game that we're building is the game that was in the Kickstarter video. That's what we're doing. It's got Muppets in it though too. Really? What is the plan for map size? What does that even mean?
We'll have big ones and small ones.
Yeah.
And some
planets.
medium-sized ones.
And someone was asking about age rating. I mean, robot violence, I think, is usually how they classify this. It's, I don't know, teen. It's not
probably
a
be
very...
teen.
I seriously doubt we'll even submit this to rating agencies unless it's required by
Yeah.
law in the country that you're in.
Yeah.
Like rating agencies are, you know, when your mom goes to the store to buy a game, it's like rated M. She buys it anyway, right? A lot of these questions, honestly, like, if you have questions like how many players per map, just please go hang out in the forum for a bit and ask the same question, because there's not simple answers to those questions, right? Maps are different sizes, right? People have different powered servers. I mean, there's a lot of variables that are going to affect how big games are.
And players isn't even the right question. It's armies.
Yeah, how many armies? Well, they're again, the answer is complicated for a lot of these things. I mean, the game is meant to be scalable, so there's no hard limit. Like right now, there is no unit limit in the game whatsoever. Like there's not even any code in there that would try to limit units. You could just build as many as you want. When the game ships, will it be like that? Probably not. There'll probably be a way to limit the units, but you have to think about the question in a more sophisticated way than just what's the cap.
Right.
What hardware are we using for the game right now? That's a pretty interesting question.
Yeah, so the server is actually, I think it's a just kind of standard. It doesn't have much in the way of video. It's a good dual. I think it's a dual core machine or dual proc. So like 8-core machine. It's running about 32 gigs of memory, and all the machines we were gaming off today, I think, are roughly NVIDIA 660s. So good, but not crazy high end, and just relatively recent i5 or i7 processors. They're not crazy. It's I think by current prices, that's what, like $800 or $1,000 PC at most.
Will there be mass points? Yes, there will be mass points. That's a pretty easy one to answer. Assignable hotkeys? Yes.
Oh, there'll be metal points actually.
Yeah.
Does the CSG allow for maps that are not spherical? Could I have a donut planet? So that's an interesting question. I've kind of answered this in the forum a little bit. There's no real restriction in terms of the shape of the planet as far as the CSG code goes, but the game code makes some assumptions right now about gravity and things like that we would have to change if we wanted to make, say, a donut planet.
And UI would be challenging there too.
And the camera would have to be changed. So my kind of long-term plan for that stuff is over time, I'd like to experiment with more of that kind of stuff and figure out what the challenges are, but that's not a, hey, let's do that right now. That's a, I'm kind of building hooks into the engine to allow this kind of stuff. There's backdoor ways of getting planet content into the game, for example. So you could literally model a planet if you wanted to and just get it into the game.
Want to take maybe one or two more?
Yeah, let's wrap this up. We've been trying to keep these streams, to a reasonable length, and this one's already pushing 40 minutes, which is quite a bit longer than we were even planning on doing. So let's answer like maybe 2 more questions. Can I push planets out of orbit in the game? We're kind of working on that stuff now, so we'll see. And then let's find out.
And that kind of thing comes down to a game design choice of like, is it going to be fun to do that? And how would you do that? How does it affect the game, right?
Exactly. And we just don't have the answers to that yet. So people can speculate all they want.
Yeah,
and we can speculate.
We're going to try a bunch of stuff, and the things that are fun stick. And that's the way we approach it.
Yeah, it's already fun.
Okay, so let's try and figure out a really good question for the final question.
Yeah.
When is the next stream? That's a great final question.
I don't know. We've been trying to do them every 2 weeks, but we haven't figured out what we're going to show in the next one yet.
We're not trying to commit to a regular schedule just because, hey, we're trying to make the game and it's pretty disruptive to our day to do this. But good chance, if I was a betting man, I'd put it on 2 weeks from now, Friday.
And I would actually say we're getting close to the point where we can make live streams that are just 30-minute gameplay sessions occasionally too, because it's getting to the point where that's actually freaking fun to watch. So
I think we're gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna answer one more question, which is there going to be weather? No, weather is not really a factor.
Yeah, it's not on.
Has nothing to do with gameplay.
Yeah, not on the radar right now.
The weather isn't on the radar.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. Appreciate your support. Continue to join us in the forums. The discussion lives on there.
Yeah, anything that's really in depth, like if you have a real complicated question, like what's the scalability of the game, ask that in the forum, because there's dozens of smart people in the forum that can already answer this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and
John spends a lot of time in the forum answering these questions.
Probably too much, actually.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to get in there and talk to people. And you know, if you're someone that posts in the forum regularly with intelligent comments, you are affecting the game. Like guys like Mike Knight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like just keep posting.
He has encyclopedic knowledge about pretty much everything ever posted on there. So
yeah, and there's some of the 0K guys like Google Frog, and I mean, there's some great stuff.
And if you haven't pre-ordered the game yet, be sure to do so, because that's how you get access to the backers forum. It's a private forum for only people who have pre-ordered the game. And there's a lot of activity there, and oftentimes we solicit feedback from the backer forums for new features, for naming things, or we'll show screenshots only intended for backers. So if you want to see that kind of stuff, pre-order today.
Store.uberint.com.
Store.uberint.com.
All right, so let's wrap this up. See you guys next time.
thanks, everyone.
Ciao.